If you haven't heard, Canva have just announced some huge big changes. With new AI features, a much more detailed brand kit, and so much more, there are lots of really cool things happening with Canva. So in this video, I want to share with you some of the cool updates and how you can make the most of them. All right, let's check out some of the cool things you can now do in Canva. So if we go over here to create, we've got up the top here now, emails. So in emails, we've got all these different templates we can choose from. So depending on what you're trying to do, you could pick one to get yourself started. So let's say we choose something like, so it's giving us a template here, which is a good start to start with a template because it's going to give you the right size and it's going to give you a good idea of, different structure. So if you've sort of got an idea of what your content will be, find one that is a good starting point, and then you can start playing with it and editing it. So you can go in and edit your text. So you can see it sort of acts a lot like if you're doing something on a website. It's got the H1, H2, that sort of editing tools here. You can go in, add new fonts, start adding our new text, add images, just like you normally would with Canva. Now with an image, if you right click, we've got here expand to full width, so it can quickly make that the full width thing. So that's a real quick way of doing that too. So you want to go in and edit those things in here. So then with a block like this, you can see it's created it as 2 columns here. And so you can actually move the columns around so you can edit it that way, and basically getting it looking just how you want. Now, once you are happy with your email, once you've created the design that you want, what you can do with it. So what are the use cases for something like this? Because obviously it's not going to be as complex as your usual email type platform, unless you decide to use MailChimp. So if you go here into Share, you do have the option here to connect it to MailChimp. So if you're using MailChimp, you'll be able to design your emails in Canva and then connect them over to MailChimp, which is really awesome. So MailChimp, you can do free for up to 500 contacts. So if you are brand new, this is a great way to get started, to be able to actually create really beautiful emails and be able to get your business going, get started. Now, the other option you have here, other than MailChimp, is to send with Gmail. So if you wanted to do something just for a small amount of people, because obviously if you send something to a lot of people, you get marked as spam, and that's why you normally use those other email softwares, you could do something, like an invite, maybe a party invite where you send something out to just your friends, or an event where you're just, inviting a couple of people on your email list. Or maybe you just did a market and you just had a few people manually write down their email and you wanted to send them a nice, beautiful email to thank them or something like that. You could do it this way. You could design it in Canva, then export to Gmail. I tested this out. It looks beautiful. It actually shows up really nicely. So what it will do when you connect it, it will set it as a draft, and then you just need to go into your drafts in Gmail and you will find your design like this. Look, it's already there, drafted, ready to go. So then you can put in your recipients and send it. Now you'll notice over here in the categories here, we also have some new elements here too, which is going to be very helpful for building our emails. So we have headers, so you can create different types of headers for your email. You've got here footers, so you've got some really cool footer designs we can add to our emails. We also have buttons, so you can create links to things. And we have icon blocks. So, things like social media or little icons and things like that you might want to put in your emails. So it's added all these extra elements as well into Canva, which is going to help you design these beautiful emails. So if you want to use MailChimp, or you will just want to send them to a small group of people using Gmail, this is a great way to get you started and to do that sort of thing. Obviously, if you want more complex stuff or you've got a very big email list, this might not be quite for you, especially if you don't want to use MailChimp for that. But if you're just getting started, or you only need to send to a small group of people, this is really amazing. So you saw here with the columns too, you can see there's this column section here. So you've got different types of columns. So we can do all the different column types. You've got styled columns even, pre-designed columns. So you really start playing around with it. This is definitely one I'd like to dive into more, learn more about what options there are, but just quickly overviewing it, you can see there are plenty of different tools we can utilize here to create some beautiful emails. Now, an overall thing that I've noticed that they have done with this one is really enhance elements in terms of being able to get the elements that you want, being able to customize elements, and being able to utilize AI to fix elements so that you can basically get whatever you need. It gets rid of that frustration of I can't find what I need, or I found the perfect thing but it's not right in another aspect. There's all these tools now that is going to make that so much easier to get the elements you need, create things that are on brand, create things that suit the design you're trying to create, and make things cohesive so every element that you use has the same sort of style to it. They've allowed a lot more tools that is going to make that a lot more easier. So if we go over to elements, one thing we've noticed is that in shapes we have a whole lot new shapes here. So if we come down, we've got all these speech bubbles, clouds, hearts, banners, teardrops, cogs, square stars, organic shapes, abstract shapes. There's a heap more shapes than there were before, so we've definitely got a lot more there. The great thing about shapes is they're just very simple cutout shapes. You can choose any color. You can also decide, actually, I don't want it to be that shape, quick change it to another one, and it keeps the styling of that one. So we've got a lot more options here with shapes, so many more to choose from. Now, of course, if you can't find what you want, they do have the generate images thing, so you can type in what you're after and it can generate something for you. So there's always that option. Now over in graphics, something very cool is if you want to create things all in the same style. So say we've got this one, we quite like the style of that, and then we find, say, we found this disco ball, but it's not the style we want. We wanted this in that same style, or maybe we wanted the trash thing like the same style of this disco ball. So what you can do is you click on that one, then you go to new, then we're going to copy art style, and you're going to click on the one you want to be the same style. Now this is only going to work on graphics. Now you will occasionally come across graphics where it doesn't work. I found the odd graphic where it didn't work, but the majority of graphics, as long as they're graphics, not photos, this style thing will work. And there we go. Now it is in the same style as that. How useful is that? Because if you are trying to create something that feels very consistent, where all the elements have that same feel, you want to put your design together and all these elements that have the same feel, you find the right image, but it's not that style. Now you can make it that style, which is just so helpful for staying on brand and staying consistent. Now, the other thing is if you can't find the style you want, but you know how to describe it, we can also utilize AI to describe how we want it to look. So, as you can tell, my kids have been in here because they've been looking up things like nukes. But if we go down here, let's go grab like a flower, and then we're going to go to ask Canva. So we're going to ask Canva to help us out here. So there are lots of fun things we can do with Ask Canva. When you look into AI, we can get it to write captions, things like that. But here what we want to do is change the style. So what we're going to do is tell it what style we'd like. So we can say we want this to be flat, color, playful, childlike drawing, for example. So if you can really describe what it is you're after, Canva's going to help you create that. And, you can get very descriptive and just let it go with it and see what it can create. But that's going to help you if you find like, this is just what I'm looking for, but it's not the right style. So then we can tell it, all right, this is what I'd like you to do. And it's going to generate that for you. Right, so this is what it's created. I'm not too sure why it interpreted it as that. This is where AI can be tricky. Sometimes can do things really well. Sometimes it will have interesting interpretations. So that one probably wasn't ideal. I have seen it. We did test it out before where we found a leaf. So I'll try that. Let's just grab a leaf like this. And let's say instead we want it to be really grungy and things like that. So let's try that. So if we go to Ask Canva, grungy, dark, moody, messy. See what it does with that. So again, when anything AI, it can be hit and miss. You just need to play around. Sometimes you will get great outcomes that are absolutely perfect. Sometimes it will miss the mark, and maybe you just need to go back and change your prompt. But if you were trying to get something, a particular style, that you're struggling to find it, keep at it with the AI and you will probably get to what you want. It just is a matter of getting that prompt just right. So now here we've got something that see, we've had that graphic, now I've got something that feels much more grungy, dark, moody, and messy. So we were able to change that style of that graphic. So that's some new ways that you can change the style of a graphic if you've found the right image, but it's not the right style. But wait, there's more. There is one other way we can change the style of a graphic. So this one, we're going to pick a graphic, we're going to go into Edit, and we have this new tool called Style Match. So you're going to go to See All, and there is a lot of varieties of styles here. So this is more for if you have this is if one of these styles is perfect for you, or you've got lots of different graphics and you can continue to press that same style over and over so they all have that same style. So this is another great tool as well. So let's say we've got this elephant and we want it to be pixel art style. So we just pick the style and it is now going to change it to that style. And then we have it, now it is pixel style, which is really cute. So let's try one more because it takes a little bit of time, but I just want to show you one more. Let's say we want to make it plushy. And there we have an adorable little plushy version. So this is actually really fun, this one, because you can create really cute, adorable styles. So as you can see, you can find a graphic and then you can choose the style that's going to suit. So that is definitely a lot of fun. So as you can see, there's all these different new features that are going to help you create the elements that you need and are going to help you create something that is really cohesive overall because everything has a similar matching style that goes well together. Now, speaking of branding and keeping everything on style and on brand, they have updated the brand kit to now have guidelines. So this is very cool because now we can really go in deep. So with the guidelines, what you want to do, they usually will come up with add new, so you can add this new guidelines thing. And it's going to bring up this document. They've got this fun new Canva loading icon. And now we've got this document that is our brand guideline. So this is definitely one that I want to go into more detail on another time in another video because there's definitely a lot to this. But this really changes the game because it goes into so much more detail and it's going to really, really help you stay on brand. So you can go through this document and add everything you need so that you're very clear about your branding. So you've got your brand purpose, about your brand, add in images, our mission, our vision. You know, you've got your logo. So you've got this. Now with the logo, what's really cool is once you come down here to logo usage. Now with any of these, what you can do is double click and that's actually going to bring you into a page to edit. So now what you can do is actually place your branding into there. You've got this nice thing around it to show the spacing. So it reminds you that when you put your logo into things to always give that spacing around it so that you're using it in a consistent way. It's not butt up against an edge too tight or things like that. This is where we're really going much more deep into making sure our brand is really beautiful, consistent, and we've got rules to it. It's not just free for all, use the elements however you like. There are certain rules to how it's being used. And so this is very, very important for brands. And having this in Canva is making it so easy because you can see it right there as you are designing and it's going to help you so much. So you could just edit in there, press save, and it'll update it in here. So that's so helpful. We've also got here the minimum width for digital and print, all those sort of specifications, logo variations, colors. So as you can see, you just click on your color. It's very similar to Canva Docs, how this one works. So you can go in, add your brand color, you add all the details, the hex code, CMYK, RGB, all those details. So we're going way more detail than ever before with just the brand kit. So you're really getting quite specific. And this is also going to be very, very helpful if you ever have someone else work on your brand. If you hand over your account to someone or you bring them on your team and you want them to create some graphics for you, the fact that they can go and see this, they're going to make sure that they'll create graphics that are also consistent too. Then we've got here color accessibility, so making sure we know what colors and what color font can go on different things. These are all such important things with branding, and it's so cool to see this in Canva now. You've got your typography, so all your fonts, your brand tagline, all the different fonts and the sizing. Then you've got your brand voice, so going into much more detail now with your brand voice than ever before. So we've got the overall, brand voice, the tone variation, how we utilize each channel, so how your tone tone will adjust for each different channel you're using. So it's much more detailed than before, as you can see. So it's really getting very specific on different things. We've also got photography, the general guides of your photography. So, things like color grading, filters, presets, all those sort of things. How people should look, how products should look, places. Then we've also got graphics, any graphic elements. Then icons. We've also got charts, so if you want to specify how your chart should look. Brand application, so showing how it actually looks for different things, how it will look in print. And they've even got a section for anything else that you want to show, any other relevant applications. So this is way more detailed, and I'm really excited to dive into this more and share more about how you can utilize this, because I know this is going to make such a difference to making sure that you're consistent. It goes beyond that brand kit of just being able to easily access your brand elements, but it gives you all the rules and guidelines. And it's a great reminder too, because I know over time, especially as the years go on, you can get carried away with different things, get caught up in trends, just start creating things because you're loving them. And it's very easy to forget these things. Having them there in Canva means it's not some PDF that's filed away that you forget to open up for a long time. It's constantly there, right there, easy to access and quick to remind you how your brand should look and how it should sound. So moving on from brand stuff, now looking at photo editing. So there's a few updates with photo editing. So we now have this one called perspective correction. So this one, you can choose an image and then we can change the perspective of it. So you've got the ability to do that. You've also got this one, pixel eraser, which is something that's very cool, because in the past, if you wanted to just erase certain things, you'd have to do the background remover, go into the edit background remover, and then erase things. But now we've just got a rubber that we could use, which is very handy. So you can just go in and, rub areas out if you want to cut out the image however you want to cut it out. If you don't just want to cut out the background or a specific object, you can cut out your image however you want now using the eraser, which is definitely a very handy tool. It could be a little bit hard to get the hang of with a cursor. It's one of those ones that you may take time to get the hang of. But if you're doing it on an iPad using an Apple Pen, that would definitely be a lot easier. But it's definitely a handy tool. Now, the other one here was auto select. So this one, it's sort of something they already had, but it's done in a better way now. It brings up this auto select. So we've got the different ways that we can choose things. So we can click, brush, background, text. So you can choose the area you want to edit. So let's say we want to remove this. So now we've got the different options. So instead of going into this, each of these things to try and make these edits, you've got the photo open. You can now select different things and make the different edits in there. So it's sort of more efficient in this way. So it's sort of tools that were already there, but done more efficiently. So we can select that plant and we can say, right, magic eraser, just get rid of that. And then we're still in this page here. So we haven't gone away. We haven't got to go select another thing. So we're like, okay, now next element. So now this I want to actually change. I want to make this daisies in a vase. Just with the photo editing, it's not very many new things. So there is the new perspective one, but it's a lot of just making things more efficient. So there we go. So we were able to get rid of an item, change an item. We just stayed within there without having to jump back and forth into different things. Along with photo editing, we also have some updates to video editing. So if we go into something that is a video, you can see up the top here, it says you are in the new video editor beta. So it's a bit of an updated editor. It now has the option to put videos on top of each other like this. So you can have that whole sort of PIP, picture-in-picture thing, where you can add things on top of things like this. Now, when we click on edit up the top here, we've got all these different video tools. So it's sort of the same tools as before, but they're just sort of organized a little bit better. So we've got all our adjust, our Magic Studio elements, so we can do the background remover, highlights, so where AI cuts it up for you. You've got your different filters. We've got all the apps, so all the apps relevant are here, easy to grab rather than having to go through the apps thing, go and find something. It's all here. Now, when you're going on to add, separate videos, so you're trying to create a video and you're putting lots of videos together, you can go here to add, and then it's got uploads, stock videos, stock photos, blank. So there's So you can very easily just add in the things you need. So you can go, right, I need something for my uploads folder, right, I need a stock video or a stock photo. So you can easily just quickly add it in here. So it's just some small tweaks there in the video editor to just make it a little bit more efficient creating and editing videos. So another little thing that I've noticed I've added is magic background. So let's say you've created a design and you're like, I just don't know what to do as the background here. I'm just unsure what's going to work well. So what you're going to do is just click on the page. Has to be a page that has no background currently. You're just going to click on the whole page and up will pop magic background. So what's it going to do is just look at your page and think what it thinks might be a suitable background. So this is a very helpful tool if you are just stuck. You're just not sure what to do as a background. You might not even want to use what it's created. It might just help inspire you if you're feeling stuck. Or if you're just like, I need a background here, make me something, it can do that for you. So as you can see here, it's created a background. So it's analyzed what it thinks will work well and created a background for me. And it's given me a few different options of what I could use. So it's created a pretty cool thing because it's picked up the blues, it's added texture, it's sort of really thought about that. And you can see here, it's given me the prompt that it utilized. So if I didn't like that prompt, if I wanted to describe better what I think might work, I'm like, that's good, but let's add a few more details. We can then generate again and get it to try again. So that's a very helpful tool to get those backgrounds, make something quickly, especially if you're stuck and not sure what to add, or if you just can't find something that feels right and you want it to try and create something that's really going to suit your page. Now, finally, we have here Grow. So under More, you can go to this one here called Grow, and it's got this new section here for creating ads. So it's using the AI, so basically telling it what you want. It's got pick a business, so you pick your business. You also put in your URL, so your website and all that, and it can help you generate an ad. So it's got some different ideas here of the types of things you might want to do. You could say, I want social proof. It's given you a starter one. You're going to write more details about what you want. You can put in, see it's got here the plus, you can insert files, so your reference files, so your images, whatever graphics you've already got, and basically tell it what you want, and it can help you generate ads. So that is another helpful tool. If you're someone that creates ads and you want to utilize that to help you get started creating those ads, that is a little tool they have there that can help you with. And you'll see here too, they also have ad inspiration at the top, which is going to give you some ideas. So if you're feeling stuck with ads, this is definitely a helpful tool because it's got inspiration, it's got the AI that can help you generate things. So even if you decide not to use anything it's created, this is a great tool for getting inspiration and getting ideas if you're stuck on creating an ad. So definitely some fun and cool things here, and I can't wait to share more and to dive into more detail on some of these, especially the new brand guidelines. Have fun diving into these new features in Canva. I'm sure I'll be creating more videos more specifically on some of these things later on. So make sure you subscribe and follow along to learn more about using Canva, branding and graphic design. Happy creating, and I will see you next time.